This episode contains discussions of death, grief, and specifically car accidents. Listen at your own discretion. It is Monday, the 21st of October, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. It's the start of another week here on Pigeon's Song of the Day, and we're getting towards the end of October, and so I wanted to talk about more kind of spooky, Halloween-y songs. And next week is going to be the proper Halloween week. But when I think spooky songs, I think horror songs, I think of the band Ludo. And I talked about Manta Rays recently, which is a song of theirs that I love. But I was going to talk about Skeletons on Parade for Halloween week. But then I was thinking about, I want to talk about the entirety of The Broken Bride, which is an EP they released in 2005. And I was like, well, why don't I just do that as the week before Halloween and then do other Halloween-y songs for Halloween week? So this week is Ludo week. For Monday through Friday, I'm going to do the 5 songs on the Broken Bride EP, and then Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to do 2, and then on Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do 2 other Ludo songs that I enjoy, one of them being Skeletons on Parade, because it is quite Halloween-y. Although the Broken Bride EP is itself rooted in a lot of horror ideas, and we're going to get there. But first of all, we're starting with the first track on the EP, Part 1, Broken Bride. Now, I'm not going to give spoilers for later in the EP. I want you to just listen to it in sequence and hear me talk about it because it tells a complete story. But just to give you the basic idea, this is an EP about someone who tries to travel back in time to save the life of his wife who died. We'll talk about it properly after we listen to the song, but that's the basic premise. It's like a sci-fi EP with a lot of biblical imagery. We'll get into it. Let's go listen to the song right now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. There it is, Part 1, Broken Bride. So, as I mentioned, this EP is about a guy who travels back in time to save his wife from dying. So, this song goes into the specifics. His wife died in a car crash in 1989 on a morning in May, and he has dedicated the past 15 years of his life to building a time machine to try and go back and save her. But it unfortunately goes wrong. He goes too far into the past and ends up in ancient times with the dinosaurs. Musically, it's a relatively standard indie rock sort of song. It sounds like Ludo's typical fare, but it works really well here because the verses are like really rapid vocals, which fits the kind of mad scientist vibe, and the chorus is really catchy, you know. The chorus gets stuck in my head a bit. So let's go through the lyrics. 15 years I rage against the constancy, the speed of light, the diagrams and haunted sleep, frozen sheets in bed, my dreams, your garden grave I'd climb inside, hold your bones and slowly die, the cooling space inside your chest, my broken bride, you never breathed again. So he says the constant C, that is the letter C, not S-E-A. That is referring to the speed of light, which he says in the next line, because it is often represented in physics as C, the letter C. Just a little note there. Diagrams and haunted sleep, frozen sheets in bed. You know, he's talking about just being restless, not getting much sleep, her bed sheets, you know, not having her in them, and him just like drawing diagrams and coming up with all of these ideas. Your garden grave, I'd climb inside, hold your bones and slowly die. Well, I mean, it's just that idea of wanting to be with someone after they die, you know. The cooling space inside your chest, my broken bride, you never breathed again. Pretty self-explanatory. She died, she never breathed again. Circuits fail, the cosmic strings like rubber bands, I lose control, they snap, I fall through mist to mud against my face, the taste of blood, the world is strange, the stinking earth and giant trees, through heavy air a demon shrieks, what have I done, what hell is waiting for me? So this is when the time machine falters, circuits fail, the cosmic strings like rubber bands, so, you know, he is sent too far into the past, I lose control, they snap, I fall through mist to mud against my face. So, you know, landing in the mud. We don't know what the past was really like because we weren't there. There were no humans, but it's always depicted as muddy, so I guess that makes sense. The mud against my face and the taste of blood. The world is strange, the stinking earth and giant trees. Through heavy air a demon shrieks. That is presumably a pterodactyl, right? He mentions pterodactyls, but what have I done? What hell is waiting for me? So I mentioned there's a lot of biblical imagery, and it's more clear later in the EP, but the idea of calling the pterodactyl a demon immediately brings to mind like a biblical idea, and he mentions hell, of course. And the next line, the chorus, is I crashed before the birth of Christ. So he's bringing up these biblical ideas early on, you know, to get that into your head. I crashed before the birth of Christ, pterodactyls swarming. You died in 1989, when I get back to that morning in May. Keep you in bed, never escape, holding you close, whoa. Listen to you breathe the evening glow of fading light and cooling space. So I love the chorus here. Like I said, it gets stuck in my head a lot. I just find myself going, I crashed before the birth of Christ. It's weirdly infectious despite what it's about. And I enjoy how it's like, it comes across a bit silly because it's about fucking dinosaurs and shit and time travel, but also it's really sad. And his determination shows how much he loved this person. You know, want to get back to that morning in May, keep you in bed, never escape, holding you close. He's so desperate to not let her get out of bed and get into the car that eventually led to her death, you know. Listen to you breathe the evening glow of fading light and cooling space. It's just a really nice image. Then we have the second verse. Like motor oil down my throat, I couldn't speak, I dropped the phone. The burning flares, the steam your hair, bits of glass, they sparkled everywhere. Like winter nights, the stars, the ice all intertwined to hold and keep, like petals pressed in sheets, making love to moonlight in our sleep. So this is him talking about getting the phone call that she has died in the car crash. Like motor oil down my throat. So taking the car imagery and saying like it's been poured down his throat. I couldn't speak, I dropped the phone. Like being shocked when he hears over the phone that his wife is dead. The burning flares, the steam your hair, bits of glass, they sparkled everywhere. Just all this detritus, you know. Like winter nights, the stars, the ice all intertwined to hold and keep. Like petals pressed in sheets, making love to moonlight in our sleep. Some of these lines escape me a bit, but you're getting these very vivid images of destruction and death and cars on fire, you know. And now above the pits of tar in a cave I hide, that massive screaming thing with wings of reaper's cloth, it's standing just outside. I must get to my machine, I will bring you back to life. Fix your ruined lungs, I'll undo what time has done. So he goes from talking about this burning car imagery to the pits of tar, which is a stark contrast, I suppose, even if it's not that different. And that massive screaming thing with wings of reaper's cloth. So bringing up the Grim Reaper again, not a biblical image as such, but it's still kind of a mythological image to bring up, you know. It's standing just outside. I must get to my machine, I will bring you back to life. So again, that determination, I must get to my machine, I will bring you back to life. He hasn't given up hope yet, you know. I have to do this. Fix your ruined lungs, I'll undo what time has done. And then we get the chorus again, and the bridge is, I carve your sweet name into the cave, I'm sure to die, all my strife has been in vain, the glaciers come and wash my words away. So he has kind of lost hope a bit, you know. He carves her name into the cave wall because he wants to remember her. I'm sure to die. Like he's like, I'm not going to make it back to the time machine, the pterodactyl's out there, it's not going to work out. So he writes her name as like a final tribute, but he knows that the glaciers are going to come and wash his words away. I mean, the dinosaurs were wiped out by the meteor, and then there was the ice age. Like he knows that this cave isn't going to keep this thing here. And then we get the chorus again, and so he's losing hope, but the chorus has a bit of hope in it as well, so he hasn't fully given up hope by the end of this song. So I think it's a really interesting introduction to the story. It tells us the backstory and the premise and gives us some development on what's going on. There's also some foreshadowing to the ending of the EP, but I'm not going to talk about that until we get to the ending of the EP because I don't want to give it away. But yeah, I just think it's a really great introduction to the story and a great song in and of itself. I mean, obviously it's tied into the story, but I just mean musically, it's really catchy. It's just a really good rock song with some cool synth stuff going on as well, and great vocal delivery as well. Andrew Volpe has like it's not an unconventional singing voice, but he does unconventional things with it, if that makes sense. I just really like his delivery. It's very erratic, and it's great. I mean, if we want to talk about erratic delivery from Andrew Volpe, I guess we'd have to talk about Love Me Dead. But yeah, so that's that song. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Save Our City, which is the only one that isn't numbered because it's all 1, 2, 3, 4. But the second track is not numbered that way for a reason, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But until then, thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
I keep saying Halloweeny as if it's going to get any less funny. Halloweener. Ween hallowed. But it unfortunately goes wrong. He goes too far into the past and ends up in ancient times with the dinosaurs. Oh, word? That's like the dinosaurs. I have it written in my notes as the dinosaur past, which is a Loading Ready Run reference, but anyway. Bits of class. Class? I'll undo what time has done. I'll undo what time has done.